This is a review of the Kymco MXU450i. This is the base model with the plain wheels and no winch. So I'll explain how I got this. I want to compare this to two other bikes. The kids had a Polaris 90, Sportsman 90, which they had outgrown. They wanted something a little bigger. They never rode it, so we sold it. And I was looking at the Brute Force, Kawasaki Brute Force 300, small, lightweight bike, but it's only two-wheel drive, and it doesn't have fuel injection. And I was considering maybe another King Quad 400. That's a bigger bike. We ride it, the kids ride it, but I wanted something smaller and lighter. So I came across this Kymco on Craigslist. It had 20-some hours on it and was $1,000 less than the list price of $5,000. So I bought it, and it's really brand new. I've gone over it, and it's beautiful bike. So I wanted to review it and compare it to those other bikes. Another comparison would be the Polaris 400. I don't know much about that bike, but I understand it does not have fuel injection, so I really wanted fuel injection, and so this is what we ended up with. To compare it to the King Quad, it's a little bit shorter. The wheels, the tires are 1 inch shorter than the King Quad. It sits a little lower. I don't exactly know. It weighs about, I think it's 70 pounds less. So the King Quad is a bigger bike with a smaller motor. It's a 370 cc, and the Kymco is a 440 cc. So that's kind of the differences. I really like the King Quad shift handle. It's always, it just feels solid. And the one on the Kymco is a little bit chintzy. It does have neutral position. King Quad doesn't have. Sometimes you have to roll the bike a little, shake it to get it to go into gear. It's not a big deal. It works fine. The King Quad has a flip lever for four-wheel drive. It's just a cable actuator there. There's no differential lock. And the Kymco has a push-button four-wheel drive with differential lock. It's kind of in glare right there. What else? The gas cap is better on the Kymco. It's metal. It is keyed. You can lock it. The brakes on the Kymco are better. Four-wheel hydraulic disc brakes, whereas only front hydraulic disc brakes on the King Quad. They both have a front metal bumper. The Kymco has a winch plate already mounted if you decide you need a winch. Both liquid cooled, both steel painted racks, both comfortable wide seats. Underneath the Kymco there is some storage. The Kymco has a 2-inch hitch, which I installed this little toe shackle. The back of the King Quad has this hole here and one single bolt to attach, whatever you're towing. It's not ideal. The King Quad exhaust comes out on the side, whereas the Kymco comes out in the middle. I find that side exhaust to be sometimes in the way in my face when I'm hooking up a trailer. So, go back to the Kymco. The features that I like: four-wheel disc brakes, electronic fuel injection, rear independent suspension, 2-inch hitch, easily accessible for oil fill, oil change. The lights are LED and they're quite bright. There's also they have running lights, which are these little tiny outside lights there on the headlamps, and rear running lights, the brakes, the brake lights and running lights. So that's the Kymco. It's a little bit smaller profile bike, lighter weight, four-wheel drive, great entry farm bike, utility bike, not your high performance bike. That's why we went with this over something like the King Quad. Compare this to the other bike we were looking at was the Kawasaki Brute Force 300, which is made by Kymco. You can buy the same bike from Kymco. It's the MXU450i. And Kawasaki, I'm sure they would do a good service, and our other bikes are sold by a Suzuki Kawasaki dealer, so I like that dealer, but I wasn't willing to pay $4,000, which is what I paid for this bike. I would have had to pay $4,000 for a new two-wheel drive, non-fuel injected bike. As to how it drives, I really like it. The steering is nice. The shocks were perhaps a bit stiff. I set them, they're all adjustable, 5-way adjustable. I put them on the softest setting, so I think it's appropriate for the kids. They haven't ridden it much. I have driven it the most. I like the acceleration. It has engine braking, which is something you need to get used to. We're not used to that on the King Quad, but engine braking. We live on a hill, so we're always going either up or down the hill. I think that's a good feature for the kids. The four-wheel disc brakes are tight. They are really strong, and the foot brake is tied into the rear brake as well. That's not a drum brake. That's part of the disc brake system. So that's the bike. I would highly recommend it so far. We'll see how durable it is, and if anything changes, I'll post an update. Thanks for watching. So I won't bore you with tedious pictures of me riding the four-wheeler, but I did want to give you the sound difference. This is the Kymco. That hesitation that it was hitting was because I've cranked down the governor screw pretty low, and maybe just because it's not able to open up all the way. Now I'll start the Suzuki, which has a better sound. Suzuki's gotten their exhaust sound a lot better. Here's the Suzuki sound. It's a little bit deeper. It just sounds smoother. No tachometer.